Welcome to the Twist News. I'm Erika Grey. Carnegie Europe wrote an article about how the EU should suspend its association agreement with Israel. And right after this article appeared, Kaja Kallas, the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy and Vice President of the European Commission, she stated that Article 2 of the European Union's association agreement with Israel should be reviewed. Politico also followed with EU to launch Israel trade review as Gaza crisis worsens. This article states that Mark Botenga, MEP, the left group's coordinator on the European Parliament's Committee on Foreign Affairs, welcomed the review of the Israel-EU agreement, but added, "The full complicity with genocide and ethnic cleansing is outrageous. We need a total arms embargo against Israel now and an immediate cancellation of the EU-Israel Association Agreement." It is also stated in the article, the Netherlands took the initiative because we have grave concerns about Gaza, said Veldkamp. We are grateful that enough member states support this step and that the High Representative Kaja Kallas has decided to initiate the review of Article 2. And of course, Israel rejected the decision and stated it reflects a total misunderstanding of the complex reality that Israel is facing. This is more than a misunderstanding. This is a lot of misinformation and disinformation getting to the ears and eyes of European Union bureaucrats, and in part because some of the political parties within the European Union are actually funded by Iran. So their stance is no surprise. And the European Union also takes the analysis of the UN and of UNRWA. But according to Gilead Erdogan, who is the former ambassador of Israel to the UN,
I want to share with you the most significant takeaway from my tenure as Israel's ambassador to the United Nations. There's no polite way to put this. To secure the free world's future, we must dismantle the UN, simply eradicate it. The United Nations is beyond reform, it's beyond repair. The institution created to prevent atrocities after the Holocaust now protects genocidal regimes.
The European Union is getting its information from the UN, which is essentially disinformation. They might as well be getting the information from the terrorists themselves, who are inflating numbers and also giving erroneous facts, when the truth of the matter is that Hamas is stealing a good deal of the aid. There was a plenary held in the EU Parliament, and the purpose of the plenary was to discuss the termination of the association agreement with Israel. The European Union fully is behind Cyprus remaining united, but yet advocates for a two-state solution. The European Union advocates for the Palestinians. But listen to what this parliamentarian had to say about the contradictions in European Union policy.
And we're asking for the review of the EU-Israel Association Agreement. I hope that you will be as enthusiastic when it comes to canceling our relations with Nicaragua, Cuba, Iran, and their governments. Thank you.
So there you go. The contradictions in European Union policy is this emphasis that they place on the Palestinian people, which only comprise 2% of the Arab population, and yet they are neglecting other parts around the globe that they are not advocating for. So what we're going to do in this video is going to be a deep dive into the association agreement with Israel and how the idea of terminating the association agreement is strategic suicide for the European Union. And this agreement was signed in 1995 and came into force in the year 2000. The European Union, in fact, has 76 trade pacts. Of these 76, the EU has 20 association agreements, and one of these is this agreement with Israel. The agreement strengthens economic, political, and cultural ties. It promotes trade and investment, supports regional stability and security, and facilitates research cooperation. Another fact about Israel is that there are 8 nations that meet the European Union's Copenhagen criteria, which is the criteria required for EU membership. 7 of those nations are applying for EU membership. So Israel meets the criteria, but it is not an EU membership applicant. All associate nations have adopted parts of the acquis on their EU accession path. Israel participates in major EU programs, including Horizon Europe, in which it has participated in over 5,000 joint research projects. Other programs include Erasmus, Creative Europe, and COSME for SMEs. And Israel has adopted selected parts of the acquis, particularly in science, industry, and technical standards, due to deep cooperation programs. So what does this mean? It means that Israel is a special partner of the European Union. It is one of the most integrated non-European countries in the EU framework. Some scholars refer to Israel as a quasi-associate, a virtual member, deeply tied to the EU, but not on a path to join. But even more so, it's the strategic talent and innovation transfer that is unique about this particular agreement. The EU-Israel trade relationship transcends basic commerce. Israel's contributions in tech, cybersecurity, AI, medical innovation, and defense research and development are invaluable to the EU's aspirations to become a global power and independent of U.S. dominance. So you're beginning to see here, based on Israel's contribution, that by the European Union eliminating the association agreement, it would be committing strategic suicide, because Israel essentially acts as the R&D engine for the European Union. That's right, the research and development engine for the European Union, particularly through Horizon Europe, joint ventures, and direct tech partnerships. And the EU-Israel agreements span aviation, customs, research, and energy, which with further integration on the horizon. And so the European Union-Israel relationship, of all of its 76 trade pacts, including the one with the United States, which comprises of 30% of world trade and is the most integrated of the trade pacts of the European Union, the one with Israel remains the most important. But here's the key. While the EU counts on the U.S. to inflate its GDP numbers, it turns to Israel to build its future. Moreover, the European Union has a trade surplus with Israel. It exports billions more in goods and services than it imports. And the economic impact would be felt greater by EU exporters than by Israel. So there would be economic losses, research and innovation impact, and it would also might affect the EU's ability to promote stability and security in the region. But we're going to take a look, a deep dive into one area that is very important for the European Union, and that is its Green Deal. In the Green Deal alone, the EU seeks to position itself as a global leader and figures that the Green Deal will boost its GDP by up to around 2% and create 1 million jobs, reduce energy consumption, and develop and deploy new green technologies and boost Europe's competitiveness globally. So we're going to take a look at one company alone and its contribution to the Green Deal. And after we look at this, you're going to get an idea of the importance of Israel to the European Union and how terminating the agreement would be strategic suicide. And the company that we're going to look at is Nofar Energy. Nofar Energy has developed large-scale projects in Romania. They're also expanding in Italy and Spain, contributing to the EU's goal of becoming climate neutral by 2050. The EU-Israel Association Agreement facilitates trade, investment, and cooperation in areas like renewable energy. Nofar Energy has secured significant financing from EU-backed programs. If the EU were to end its association agreement with Israel, Nofar Energy could face significant challenges, including loss of funding, trade disruption, and regulatory delays that would not only harm Nofar, but also impact the EU's green energy goals. The EU needs Israel's expertise and innovation in renewable energy to meet its climate objectives. Nofar Energy's projects demonstrate the strategic value of this partnership, which would be compromised if the agreement is terminated. Stéphane Séjourné, the European Union's vice president and within Ursula von der Leyen's commission, who heads industrial policy, stated that the European Union is looking for talent, and they're hoping to get this talent from the United States because of Donald Trump's cuts to the universities. But they've got this talent with Israel. As a matter of fact, they've got exceptional talent. Ofer Yane, the owner of Nofar, talked about what makes his company unique. And this is the kind of talent through the association agreement. Let's take a listen.
It's become, once it was just like a spoken word and there were not a lot of players. Now there are many players. So how do you continue in such a competitive market?
Well, I think in what we did in Nofar, in the first 8 years we changed in Israel, but what we are doing outside of Israel is also very interesting and inspiring. We managed to be kind of a pioneer in batteries. Mm-hmm. Batteries are essential for renewable energy. We managed to understand that in 2018, because Israel is an electrical island. If you are in Spain, you can use the electrical system of Portugal, of France, and in time of disaster, like happened to them a few weeks ago of Morocco, mm-hmm. we cannot rely on our neighbors. We can send them water, we can send them natural gas, but we cannot rely on them. So because Israel is an island, in 2018, Nofar started to learn about batteries that are essential to the markets when you put in a lot of renewable energy. And since the average, the US average, the US numbers of renewable energy, electricity production is 24%, the world is 33%. Which means now you need batteries almost everywhere. So we're doing quite a nice move around it.
Ofer Yane is such a visionary that he authored the book, New Under the Sun, Renewable Solar Power and the End to Humanity's Energy Crisis, which now is in the Twist News Amazon store under the category Books by the Greatest Minds in Geopolitics and Global Innovation. So you're going to want to click the link below to get a copy of Ofer Yane's book to show you the kind of visionary he is and how he thinks. This is what he also stated.
I think if you follow my career, you can find patterns that are similar between what I did in Nofar and what I'm doing in Apoel.
Nofar Energy.
I'm passionate more about actions, about things that need to get done. And the second thing is that I think Bibi is very conservative, and I'm a guy that when he enters a room, he thinks of how do I renovate here, right? How do I make the changes here? And
maybe even like to disrupt in a positive sense.
Exactly. This is me. I'm a disruptor. I'm a guy that makes changes.
And that's exactly what he's doing. And also at the prestigious Reichman Institute in Israel, Yanni has formed the Yanni Institute for Energy Security. And in it, it states here, founded with a vision to promote energy security and resilience for Israel and the world, the Institute embarks on its journey with a deep commitment to shaping smart, research-based policies that drive significant changes in energy markets. Ofer Yanni is a thought leader. He is one of the top minds in renewable energy. This is the talent that is contributing to the Green Deal, which is extremely important to the European Union. So in conclusion, the EU-Israel partnership is crucial for Europe's energy green future. Terminating the association agreement could have significant consequences for both parties, but particularly the European Union, which needs Israel's expertise and innovation to meet its climate goals. And this is just one area. The European Union is also in a race with AI, and they're pouring money into technological innovations, medical innovations, all areas that Israel is a great contributor. So the question remains, who is thinking up this policy? So you have to ask yourself, why Kasia Kallas would be so quick to talk about terminating a deal that, one, the information that they have is based on lies and falsehoods, and second, would upset the European Union's own goals and areas in which it's trying to achieve supremacy. The EU-Israel partnership is a key to Europe's green energy future, and it's looking for talent from the United States now. It's got a plethora of talent already from its association agreement with Israel. So this policy is not only counterintuitive strategic suicide, but also based on falsehoods. The European Union needs to do a serious rethink before they would go forward with terminating such a vital agreement, an agreement that stands out above all other agreements that they have with all other nations. Hope you found this informative. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. And this has been Erika Grey of the Twist News.